Hi, this is Mike Langlois, and I wanted to take less than 5 minutes to give you 5 suggestions for this summer. A lot of therapists have a harder time keeping busy in the summertime, and a lot of that is because we tend to think that what we're supposed to be doing is therapy and that's it. And so if there isn't somebody coming into our office, then we aren't quite sure what we're supposed to do. So this summer I wanted to give you 5 suggestions of things you can do when summer is slower. Because if you're anything like me, sometimes your practice slows down a little bit in the summertime because people are going on vacations, you're on vacations, schools are out, all sorts of things. So the first thing you can do is you can take a look at your website and proof it. What that means is you can go and check to see if you're still taking the same insurances you took before, if the groups that you advertise are still running, if you're still working with the same sorts of folks, or if you want to change your focus a little bit, what insurances you do or don't take. Those are all things that may change from year to year. So one of the things you can do is proof your website. And if you don't have a website yet, shame on you, and that's the number one thing you should be doing this summer is getting yourself a website. So number one, proofing your website information. Number two, networking. Networking meaning going and having coffee, meeting people for lunch. The fact is that in the summertime, lots of us have more flexibility in the schedule. Sometimes there's a little competition. We don't want anyone to know that our practice may have a little more flexibility, so we don't necessarily say anything, or we might not think about networking with other people because we kind of get stuck in the 4 walls of our office. So the second thing that I would encourage you to do over the summer is once a week make a time to meet with someone for a cup of coffee or for breakfast or for lunch. I know that's something I usually do and I enjoy it quite a bit. So that's number 2. Networking this summer is something you can do. Number 3 is writing content. There is lots of time in the summer that you might have flexibility, and it might be a good time for you to get a head start on some content. Maybe you're wanting to write a blog or a series of blogs on something, and now's the time you've got to do some solid writing. Maybe you want to put together some blogs into an ebook. I'm planning in the next couple of weeks to be taking my blog posts and converting them into an ebook, something that I can do in the summer because I have a little more time. So what are some things that you can do to generate content? Content for your website, content for Twitter, content for your blog. That's the third thing you can do. So number 3 is generate some content for your practice and your site. Number 4 is tweaking your business plan. If you recall way back in January, if you follow my blog, I actually reproduced a business plan that I had for this year. And it both took into account some things that I had done last year, but it also took into account things that I wanted to tweak. You can go to my website and you can see it. If you look in January, it's called Tweaking 2001. Well, we're halfway through 2001, a little more so now because it's July. So now's the perfect time in the summer when you have a little bit of flexibility to go back and look at your business plan. Go look and see what things you've accomplished and what things you haven't accomplished yet. Also go see what things that might have seemed relevant back in January that don't seem so relevant now. For example, I had in my sort of exploring technology section of my business plan looking at rock melt and spending some time playing with rock melt and seeing what I thought about it. Well, rock melt's become, I think, a lot less relevant. There aren't a lot of people that I know that are using it. It didn't seem to get the sort of launch or the reception that perhaps people were hoping it would. So I'm not going to be spending a lot of time in the second half of 2001 looking at rock melt. Meanwhile, Google Plus has burst onto the scene, and so I do want to spend some time and devote some time in my practice and my business to be using Google Plus. So what you'll see when you revise your business plan is that you have made something that you've seen less relevant go off the business plan, and you've put something else maybe more relevant on. So that's number 4. 4 is reviewing and revising your business plan. Last but not least, number 5 is plotting nefarious deeds. That's right, you heard me right, plotting nefarious deeds. This is a time where it's really good to go to your secret headquarters, put your thinking cap on, and think, what do I want to accomplish this year in terms of world domination in the world of therapy? How do I want to position myself with my colleagues? What do I want to offer for services? What groups or individual treatments do I want to focus more on? Is there a book I want to write? This sort of brainstorming is really important, and the idea of plotting, giving ourselves permission to kind of secretly play with some ideas without having to feel pressured to release them to the public, is something I don't think we allow ourselves to do as much as therapists as we could. You know, one of the things that's interesting about therapy is we really value other people talking about their thoughts and other people talking about their feelings. But we often don't think of for ourselves that thinking is doing something. And so that there isn't time that you dedicate to thinking about a theoretical concept or plotting nefarious deeds. So this summer, make some time for you to do that. Make some time that you kind of keep yourself in your own private space. Don't tell anybody necessarily what you're planning on doing, and plot. Just come up with whatever outlandish or weird ideas and play with them for a while. Write them down and think about them for a while, because thinking is doing something. So in closing, that's what you can do this summer. Those are 5 suggestions. Number 1, proofing and revising your website to correct anything that's outdated. Number 2, networking, meeting with friends and hanging out and getting to know more about your colleagues' practices and telling them about yours. Number 3, writing content for your blog, for ebooks, for anything else that you might be doing this coming year. Number 4, tweaking your business plan, reviewing your business plan and seeing what's relevant, what's not, what needs to change, what needs more work. And finally, number 5, plotting nefarious deeds. So hopefully you'll find this helpful. I hope you have a good summer, but I also hope you have a productive summer. And you can do that even if you're not seeing patients. So I'm Mike Langlois, LICSW. Thanks for listening.